Hey Farm Fam, I was working on another video and I just didn't feel like I had given the topic enough justice, so I'm going to put that off for another time. So kind of doing a later video than I wanted to. Been reading the book The Sacred Cow and I just looked it up and now I've already forgotten because that's what I do. By Diana Ridgers, RD, I don't know what that stands for, and Rob Wolf. And it's a really good book. But there's just so much to it, and I want to talk about it, but I want to make sure I don't ramble while I'm doing it because I hate rambling. Even as I'm rambling, I'm like, stop it, and I keep doing it. So I'm going to take a little bit more time on that one and do a video on that later. What I wanted to do today, though, just for a little bit, is I keep talking about Joel Salatin, or Salatin, I think is how it's actually pronounced. But I wanted to do a little, every once in a while, do like a quote from someone like Joel or Wendell Berry or some other really important figures in the regenerative agriculture space, and kind of just talk about it, give my thoughts on it, and so we can give more quick videos and a little bit educational and motivational, inspirational, all the issionals. We don't need a law against McDonald's or a law against slaughterhouse abuse. We ask too much salvation by legislation. All we need to do is empower individuals with the right philosophy and the right information to opt out en masse. And I really like that because it's true, especially right now. So many people just expect the government to take care of everything for them. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm a very independent person. I mean, I rely, oh my goodness, Kit Kat. I rely on a lot of people, of course, for different things like food, to get gas into my house, for heat, electricity, for the lighting and stuff. But at the same time, if I can do something by myself, I'm going to try and do that, for better or for worse. I think it's good to have this balance of self-reliance, but also knowing when it's okay to ask for help of a community or neighbors. But we just ask so much, as he said here, too much salvation by legislation. We ask too much of the government because the more we ask, the more they get their dirty little hands in our stuff and the more problems. Is there one thing the government's gotten their hands in and fixed? Maybe. I can't think of one. Every time I feel like they put their hands in something, it gets worse. We shouldn't be relying on that. What we need to do is we need to give that power back to ourselves and realize that we as a people have way more power than we think we do. And I think it's because we're so divided right now, and not just politically or with different thoughts or whatever. I think it also comes down where we have made a society where we're more self-sustaining. We just stick more to ourselves, especially with technology and stuff. It's so much easier to feel connected without actually being connected. And I wish I could remember where I heard it from. I can't remember. Okay, it was from Over the Hedge that we were watching with the family the other day while doing corn. The main raccoon character, RJ, was telling them that the TV is something that humans use to not interact with anybody but still feel connected. And that really resonated with me and made me realize how much I use social media or TV or different things to feel connected to the world without actually having to interact and legit connect. And as an introvert, I'm like, sure, but I know that's not healthy. Like, even though I don't mind it, I know it's not the way it's supposed to be. And so if we could just come back together as a community, I don't think we would rely so much on government. We'd rely more on each other and help and support. Because we know our neighbors and we'd want to, you know, encourage people so much. One thing that I love, a good example of this is we've had three coordinators. I mean, we have more coordinators, but three really excellent coordinators. And I'm not going to name them by name. I kind of want to because they're amazing, but I don't want to point people out or anything if they don't feel comfortable with that. And I haven't asked them if they would feel comfortable with that. But they, I want to say they must be like really community people, because they signed up to be a coordinator and so quickly they've brought a group together to buy a whole cow. And to me, that means that they have already tried to work with people and be with people. But I feel like we need to get more like that, because there's a lot of things that I don't agree with, but that doesn't mean I want to go out and make it illegal, because it's going to hurt a lot of people who maybe were just trying to do the best they could. Making something illegal isn't going to fix the problem. It's only going to make things maybe worse by people maybe getting angry that they made it illegal because they don't understand why it's illegal, because they didn't see a problem with it. Again, I think I mentioned this before, one of the AA values, if it's not a problem, it's not a problem. And so people who don't see a problem with sticking animals in a living situation of their own crap and feeding them things that they shouldn't be fed that can make them sick, if they don't think it's a problem, then it's not a problem to them. And for me to come in and tell them that they're wrong and they need to fix it, and that's not going to fix the problem. And so what we want to do is reach out, educate, show people that there's a better way, because there's so much of this stuff I didn't know. I just assumed that of course you fed cows grain, of course they live in their poop, of course cows smell, of course pigs smell, and chickens are I didn't know any better. But now I do know, and I don't want to go back to that. And I want to give other people options of there is a better way. Even though there's stuff that I don't agree with, I don't think it should be outlawed. And I just think there should be another option that should be equal and as readily accessible. Unfortunately, the government usually subsidizes and pushes these options because it works with an agenda, because the food agenda for the government is corn, wheat, and soybeans. And CAFOs, concentrated animal feedlots, and conventional dairies, and other things like that, they support wheat, corn, and soybeans. And over here, with a different side, we support this natural, more holistic, it's happiness, but there's not government money and big corporation money to be made over here, because there's less hands in the pocket. And so even though this side is more expensive, this side actually shows what food should be costing. Now, I mean, there probably are some people over here that are asking you to pay way too much, and others that aren't asking you to pay enough. But over here, there's subsidies, there's a lot of hands, a lot of middlemen, a lot of people in the meddling, and a lot of money to be made by everyone else except the actual rancher and farmer. Once again, great quote by Joe Salatin. We don't need a law against McDonald's or a law against slaughterhouse abuse. We ask for too much salvation by legislation. All we need to do is empower individuals with the right philosophy and the right information to opt out en masse. Thank you, Joel Salatin. Thank you. Thank you for being part of the change, being part of a movement, this community that wants to give people an option that's better food for better health, both for you, the animals, and the planet. And I'm glad that we can be together in this. Thank you so much. Virtual hug. If you don't like hugs, virtual high five or handshake. Well, thank you. I hope you have a great night. I will see you tomorrow. I am hoping either tomorrow or the next day, maybe the next day, I have a very interesting recipe to do with you guys. It's out of the normal of what I have done before, but I'm really interested to try it. It's going to be a cookie, but a cookie with bacon grease. We'll see. I've heard that it turns out really well, but we'll see. Anyway, have a wonderful day/night, and I will talk to you later. Bye.